you went and did this because thinking the outcome was going to be that. And it must mess with that, in their head mentally. It's got to mess with you knowing that you took the bait basically, and it wasn't worth it, and it's never worth it to put yourself in that position. You've got to live with you. So again, for those women that go through that, I say walk away, run. Don't even walk, just run. Run. If it doesn't feel right, run. Get out of there. I don't care what you need to do, fight. Whatever it is, if you're in that situation where you need to fight it and get out.
There's a lot of talent people out there that they're looking at you and they're saying, okay, there's 100 million other women that are beautiful women, but the talent wants to kind of work with somebody that's pretty and smart. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but no, that's kind of, is there any?
It's funny. It's funny. Sorry. I just went through that with my job for Princess Cruise Lines. They wanted to see, the audition was, they want to see how you look, but they want to hear you talk, and they'll ask questions, any audition, they'll ask questions to get to know your personality, to see what are you like? What do you talk about? Can you handle being on set with other people? They want to see what, they're going to be on set with you for a while. They want to know that you're going to work well with others, and that it's, there aren't going to be, hopefully there are no red flags. So, yeah, I think you're right. I didn't think about the vocal part. You want to hear people's voices, but honestly, in every audition I go to, that's what it is, or any self-tape I do. Those are the questions asked because they want to know you can walk and talk.
That's it. Walk and chew gum at the same time. So, all right, you dedicated the book to your mom. Can you share any information about your mom and how she influenced your life?
Oh my gosh, yes. She was amazing. She came to this country she came from Greece with 2 kids, and then had me accidentally when she moved to Chicago. She didn't know the language. She was abandoned, abused by her husband, my father. And so she really had nothing, and she had no family. So I don't know how she did it, but she figured out a way. She was such a strong woman. She worked her butt off to support her 3 kids and make ends meet. And she never stopped. I mean, I grew up and I went off, I left, I moved on, I came back, and she was still working so hard as if we still had nothing. That was just her mentality. That was how she grew up. And, she grew up in a small village outside of Athens. So totally different life, and then moved to Athens and then came out here to the States. So every time I think of her and I feel like I'm in the middle of a tough decision, or I'm going, down about this or that, I think about my mom and go, oh my gosh, she went through so much and she was so strong and didn't think twice about it. She just did. She just acted on it, protecting her family. She came last. She was always about everybody else. Even if it wasn't just her children, even other people that were around in our family or friends, she always took care of everybody. So she just always had that strong work ethic. And I've always taken that with me, that if she could do that, well, I hope I could be half the woman that my mom was. So I live by that, and I try. I don't always succeed, but I do my best. I really do. So it stays with me.
Sounds like she was a badass. All right.
That's what I call her. I call her badass mom.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So an industry that you're in, it's criticized, because of superficiality and, all that. How do you, what do you do to stay authentic and stay true to your values and keep you grounded?
I feel like I've always been grounded. And if I were to go off path even a little bit, I think somebody in my family would kick my ass. I think it's where I came from, but always, when I moved to LA, it definitely was a game changer. You're around so much, and you can easily get distracted and pulled in different directions. So you definitely have to keep yourself in check. That's something I do on a regular basis. I'm always thinking about, okay, how am I presenting myself? How am I getting caught up with this or that? And that's where you need to start reeling it in and really just staying grounded. That's so important. And it's who you surround yourself with too, whether it's family or friends or business people. I really think about at this point, especially, do I want to work with this person that, there's something, if I see red flags or if I see it's just not going to be a good thing for me in any way, I trust my instincts. That's something I talk about in the book too, is where trusting your instincts, that'll save you. That'll save you time and time again. I don't care what anybody else tells me. At the end of the day, it's how do you feel? Only you know what's right for you. So you need to hone in on that. That's something you need to work on all the time. You're not going to always be perfect, but that's something you just, again, need to reel yourself back in and get grounded and just be hyper aware.
Is it hard sometimes? I mean, obviously, being an actress and a model, and obviously very beautiful. I mean, inside and outside, you are. I mean, now I've gotten to know you a little bit, but I just look. Women go through a lot of crap, right? I mean, on set, and I mean, harassment and sexual harassment. Yeah. Did you have to endure some of that shit? And you don't have to mention any names, but tell us about some experiences that happened to you that, maybe you would have done something different, or maybe you wouldn't, or just share your thoughts on that subject.
I feel like I've come across it a lot, whether it's the sexual harassment or whether I've encountered many times where people told me I couldn't work if I didn't get this or this or this done, my nose or, my boobs or whatever it is. I've heard different things along the way. And there are times I've walked away and just ignored it. And there are times where I've stood up and I say something where I have to put that person in their place, because I'm thinking, if you're saying that to every girl, at least I feel like I'm strong enough and I can handle it and I'm going to walk away. But there are girls that are younger and not as experienced, where they might look at themselves and start feeling more self-conscious and may go out and get something done. Have that surgery that they didn't need. You're putting so much into one person, telling you that's a personal thing. That's I have to actually, I'll give you this story. I had an agent who, he was the president of the commercial department, was running things. And he just one day turned around. He was sending me on auditions that were for over 50 when I was in my 30s. And I realized there was a pattern. So I went back and I said something to him and he's like, face it, honey, you're getting old. You've got wrinkles. I've come to find out he was doing that to a lot of girls. A lot of the women, he would say that. And I thought, where's this coming from? Like, why, how dare he? And he's running, this is our livelihood. So fast forward not too long after, I went out with some friends and my husband, and lo and behold, there he is in the same place. And he's got a girl by his side that was super, super, super young. And I realized in that moment, it's his own personal thing. He likes younger women, young girls. And so that goes from his personal life into our business life. That's a no-go. I don't care what you do personally, like that's on you. But when it comes to my business, you're affecting it. So I said something to him and then I left, and I found another agent. If you're in a situation like that, you just have to walk away and find what's right for you. And what's crazy is he's apparently known as a really good agent. In my eyes, no. So that's where you have to find what's right for you. What works for somebody else doesn't work for me. That's just the way it is.
What's cool and what I loved, why I loved your book so much, is because you did talk about money. And the truth is, and like we talked about today, it's so important that you manage your money correctly, because you managed your money in a good way, it gives you a little bit more strength to stay you. Nobody can change who you really are because you're not desperate. Yes, you want the job. Yes, you want to continue to make, to do business and create, more, you want more opportunities. But if it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't feel authentic, if you don't feel like this is going to serve you well, then you just don't do it, because you have emergency funds, you have enough money to keep you going. You're not willing to sacrifice your integrity for a job, which is going to end in a day or a week or a month or what, you know what I mean? You don't sacrifice that. Is that?
I think it's harder for when you're younger. I get it. It's a learning process. So that's why this book was so important to me, is because I went through all those stages and I know what I will put up with and what I won't put up with. I know when to walk away. I know when to fight back. But it was something I had to learn. I didn't always do it right. I didn't always know the answers. It was just something I had to deal with. And there were personal things that happened to me that I was like, okay, there were times I was petrified to say anything, because how is this going to affect me? Oh, is this going to, are they going to call my agent and tell them I'm a horrible human being because I didn't go along with this or that? It took some time to really work that muscle of saying no when I needed to say no, walk away, just know that to me is a big thing, just knowing when to walk away. And I know I said it, but I feel like I always need to say it again and again, especially for the younger generation, because they haven't honed in that muscle. They haven't honed that in. It's something you need to keep working on. And it's okay if you don't get it right and things don't happen the way you want it the first time. You'll do better next time. Learn from that situation, take it in and go, no, I will not accept that the next time. If this ever happens again, I'm going to do it this way. And then just keep that always in mind, in the back of your head. And you'll find that strength. You just got to keep doing it and keep protecting yourself, defending yourself. It's just something you need to just keep working on. Yeah,
gotta be the hardest thing. No, it's got to be the hardest thing. I mean, I can't even imagine. I mean, just being a woman in, now I think this is the decade of the women. I think women have more power than ever. I think women are badasses in today's world, But there's still a lot of that going on, it's still not easy where you're labeled as, I'm sure it goes on, especially in Hollywood, maybe not in the business world as much, but especially Hollywood. And I mean, to go through some of the things that you guys have gone through to kind of rise up and to continue on. I mean, obviously we've heard the stories. I mean, the Weinstein guys and imagine all the women that did crazy, stupid stuff with this guy just because they wanted a job. I mean, first of all, disgusting. All right. Second of all,
that.
Your integrity. I mean, I don't know.
That feeling inside, I can't even imagine that feeling inside. You went and did this because thinking the outcome was going to be that. And it must mess with that. In their head mentally, it's got to mess with you knowing that you took the bait, basically, and it wasn't worth it, and it's never worth it to put yourself in that position. You've got to live with you. So again, for those women that go through that, I say walk away, run. Don't even walk, just run. If it doesn't feel right, run. Get out of there. I don't care what you need to do, fight. Whatever it is, if you're in that situation where you need to fight it and get out.
If you like this video and you want to watch another one, click right here. If you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.